As you know, during our budget discussions, the SPLOST came up in our discussions when we were talking about our budget and the funding and so forth. So we wanted to discuss it further because there is a deadline. If we were to have a SPLOST, it would have to be sent into the county by November 5th in the morning. So, I'm sorry, August 5th in the morning.
It says November right there in front of you, that's probably what you said.
That's probably what I was, that's correct. So anyway, that's a very short window. So when we discussed it, we felt like we needed to have a workshop to discuss it further, just to see what we thought and what kind of direction we could get on this topic. As you know, we've had a reduction in state funds over the last several years, and it has pushed the burden for the requirements that the state has on us to the local taxpayers. The portion of the state money towards going to education, the percentage has gone down and the local percentage has gone up. And one of the biggest reasons is that they have given us austerity reductions over the last several years. Over the last several years, the state has put more money into education overall because the student population in Georgia has increased. So if you were to ask at the state, are you putting more money into education now than you were 6 years ago, the answer would be yes, because of the growth in student population. But a lot of the programs that they still require, they're not funded because of the austerity reductions. Now luckily this year, if the budget doesn't get cut again in January because of the bad economy, we did get $700,000 additional dollars that our local representatives helped us get back, and we hope that we will be able to continue to use that. But what we would like to do is to at least talk about it, because if we do not have a new source of revenue, next year we talked about the possibility of having to cut some of our services in order to make budget meet because of the lack of growth in the local digest and the continued reductions from the state level. When we had our budget workshop, when we had a strategic planning session, we did look at these options and talked about what we could do to reduce, and did reduce probably close to 40 positions by now, and cut back in other areas as well. Several things that we are looking forward to in the future, and we hope we can do, are to continue to purchase buses each year to keep our fleet as modern as possible and as safe as possible, to continue to purchase textbooks, to continue to be able to do some renovations on our older buildings, and to continue with the technology swap outs, where you swap out the old computers for newer computers. And we won't have funds to do that. Even if we cut a good number of things out of our budget next year, we still won't have enough money to do that. So that's why we wanted to discuss it, and we have put together this presentation of information. Mrs. Brock has looked very carefully over this, and I'll ask her to go through this with us and highlight some of these things so that we can have a better understanding of it. Mrs. Brock?
As Dr. Dakotas mentioned, when we put together the budget for this coming school year, we had some areas of concerns that we really could not address in the operating budget. Specifically, order of new buses. We try to order 18 to 20 new buses every year, and if not every year, every other year. Last year we did place an order, but we were not able to fill it, and those new buses will be on the road at the beginning of this school year. But in order for us to do a lease like that and finance it over 5 years, those new school buses are going to cost us $330,000 in our operating budget next year. And so that follows out 5 years out down the road. And if you're constantly trying to update your fleet, then you're adding a layer every year of debt service on there. Another concern we really had was with technology, and that the computers that we have out there, they're rolling off of the warranty. So we have a large chunk of computers that not only do we lease that are coming towards the end of their lease life, but computers that we own that are now off warranty, and should we have problems with that, it's going to cost our operating budget. We have not been able to budget those replacement funds in the '09 budget. And so those were the two biggest areas that in the operating budget that we were missing. What we did is we looked back at what the SPLOST is generating for the county on a monthly basis, and just for informational purposes, that information is on page 7, which came directly off of the county's website. And we believe that a 1% sales tax over the next 5 years would generate between $100 and $115 million over that 5-year period. So the areas that we really feel that we need to address are debt service. We have debt service extending out on our bonded debt to 2027. And last year's millage rate, I believe, was 3.55 mils. And for this year, I anticipate needing to be slightly more than that, even if we have some growth, which I have not had an opportunity to look at this point. We can earmark a part of your SPLOST directly towards reducing your bonded indebtedness. Unfortunately, we can't use it to reduce our lease payments on our buses or our COPS. Unfortunately, I would have really liked to do that to free up some operating budget. The other areas we're looking at, of course, are technology, security, looking at the direct access for the doors, primarily in elementary schools, and then some different systems in the middle and high schools. You can use some of SPLOST money for textbooks. That's really the only area of a normal operating budget that you can use SPLOST money for. Helping to fund a portion of the facility's 5-year plan, and any potential warehouse relocation, transportation, being purchase of buses, and also the possibility of looking into completing some type of aquatic center, since we're having some changes in the usage of Peachtree City Pool going forward.